So today, starting building a new application. What we're working on today is what I call a stakeholder translator. And basically, as a product manager, the idea for this was um, often need to talk to different audiences, right? Communicate the same message to different audiences who have different points of view, different perspectives in how they view things. And so wanted to tailor messages specifically to them and communicate them in a way that serves their interests and aligns with um, what they would like to know and understand about a project or application or feature that one may be building out. So called it Stakeholder Translator. Just very simply, it is what it says on the tin. And so this was actually my initial prompt. I just dictated this using Whisper, so there is it's not in the best grammar now that I look at it. I probably should have edited it a little bit, but you got the idea out there. And this is my what I did here was actually my I have a project set up in ChatGPT that I kind of use as a thought partner. So this is really just for me to kind of flesh out the ideas, kind of talk through it with ChatGPT and come up with usually 3 pieces of information: the PRD, the full PRD, and then also a PRD that will go in Lovable, and then also the technical implementation guide portion of things. And so these will generally go in Lovable in the knowledge section. And then once I have these artifacts, these documents, what I will do is I have a separate project that I use to actually write the prompts. I try to write them in a modular fashion so that we're building step by step once we get into Lovable, so we can kind of test each step along the way. But this is where it started. So this was the prompt. Again, I just kind of word vomited my train of thought, and kind of started working through that with Lovable. With Chat. Kind of started working through that with ChatGPT, and there was a series of back and forths. Gave quite a detailed output, and then I kind of gave some feedback on what it initially spelled out, and then it created the first version of the PRD and technical implementation guide, and those are those docs there. And then I actually wanted to add in, as one of the audiences, a recruiter, because initially I hadn't done that. So added in a recruiter. So we see these are different audiences that we have. And yeah, so not to bore you with all this, but there was, quite a bit of back and forth until we finally got to final version of the docs. I did decide to include the recruiter part in version 1, which I had initially thought I would do in version 2, but decided to do it as part of version 1. And yeah, so this is basically the image kind of summarizing visual system map of what this application will do. We have our docs here a little before that. And then once this was done, I went into another project that I have, which I'll flip over to now, to create the prompts. Okay, and so here is my other project. So as you can see, I put that doc in here. I copied in the version of the shorter version of the PRD that typically would go in the knowledge section in Lovable. I added that in here and asked it to create the prompts that I would use in Lovable to build out. And here we go. Here's the first prompt. Usually I like to start with a blank app, so that'll be something that I will do. And then this was the second prompt. I think there's like 12 of them. It's kind of going step by step, and then I asked about, because obviously we would need to connect this to ChatGPT or one of the other GPTs to actually have the information to do the translating, right? So I had asked about that because I didn't think the prompts hadn't factored that in. So I asked about AI integration, and then it created a further series of prompts to account for that. And that's kind of where we are now. So just wanted to give you guys an overview of what I had done as an initial step. In the next video, we will jump into Lovable and start building. But yeah, this is kind of my process before I even get into Lovable and start prompting. Always, I just think it's the best practice to use ChatGPT or something else to think through, flesh out your idea. It's also great, obviously, at writing the prompts way better than me. And so really important just to leverage the tools to do that. And then I now have my PRD that this is going to go into Lovable in the knowledge section, all this. And then I'll also actually include this as well in there. And then for my own purposes, I have a fully built out PRD that I will have in my docs. I usually save all that stuff in Notion. So, I will also include the technical implementation guide in Lovable as well in the knowledge section. So yeah, that's another important piece of information that will be in there. All right. So that's today's video, short and sweet. In the next one, we'll jump into Lovable and start building. See you there.